Hello, friends.
One of the hardest things to figure out when you start your own service-based business is how do you price your fees? This is because when you offer a service as opposed to a product, the biggest cost that you incur is really your own time. Nowadays, it has become pretty easy to start a business offering a service. The barriers to entry have become lower and lower. All you need is probably a website, a Wi-Fi connection, a few software subscriptions, and that's pretty much it. You're good to go. So how do you price your fees in a way that is fair but also competitive? And how can you make sure that the fee that you set for yourself is actually going to cover your lifestyle costs? In this video, I'm going to share two methods, literally the step-by-step process on how to figure out what the best fee is to charge for your time. And this is also going to be a method that is going to be more helpful for small businesses such as mine, where I'm basically the only employee. This is not going to be particularly helpful for the scaling businesses who already have a few members of staff on their payroll. For those kind of businesses, I would budget for their income in a slightly different way, but this is great if you're just starting off with your small service-based business and you're going to be the only person being paid for running it. Before we dive in, hi, I'm Susie. I'm a finance director, a business owner, and an investor. And on this YouTube channel, I share everything about what it feels like to own and grow a business while still enjoying life. If that's the kind of stuff that you enjoy, hit subscribe. Great. So the first method to figure out what your hourly rate is or what your daily rate is the most simple. And I would recommend doing this if you are just starting your side hustle. So maybe you have an employed job on the side that gives you a regular salary, and on the side, you're starting to grow your customer base and you're starting to do some odd freelance jobs here and there. So the first step is to look at your personal finances and to figure out how much you need to make every month to cover your expenses and also leave maybe a little bit aside for your savings. Do you know how much it costs you to live? How much do you pay in rent, utilities, fun money, nights out, groceries, entertainment? How much money do you need to live? Don't go too crazy about it. Think about your normal monthly expenses and just literally write out everything that you spend your money on. So how much do you need to survive? And make sure that you also include your taxes. So make sure that you are familiar with how much taxes you pay in the countries that you live and include that as an expense based on the income that you aim to achieve. After you have your total, monthly expenses, we're going to want to figure out your yearly expenses. So you just multiply that figure by 12, which is the number of months per year. And then from there, we're going to figure out the hourly rate. So I'm going to give you an example right now. Let's say that someone needs £2,000 to live. So that will cover their rent, their utilities, eating out, groceries, entertainment, subscriptions, taxes, all of that sort of stuff. Let's say that they need £2,000 at least to make ends meet. So if this person needs £2,000 per month, they will need £24,000 per year. So if you divide that by 52, you will get the weekly amount of income that they will need to earn. And once you have your weekly income target, you divide that by the number of hours that you have available to work per week. So in the example that I'm sharing, if we divide £24,000 by 52 weeks, you're going to get about £450 per week. And then let's say that this person has 30 available workable hours per week. This means that they will need to charge at least £15 per hour. So you divide 460 by 30, and then you get your hourly rate. You might round it up and maybe charge 16 or 17 pounds per hour. So you know that you will need to charge at least that amount per hour for you to be able to cover the expenditure of your lifestyle. Now, a good thing to do after this step is just to do some research online and see what your competitors are charging. So what is the market rate, the average market rate for the kind of service that you offer? So for example, if you offer, freelance bookkeeping services, do a quick research online and see what other freelance bookkeepers are charging in your area. Remember to make it geographically relevant, because hourly rates can change a lot depending on where you are in the world, and most importantly, where your clients are in the world. So again, this is a very simplified version to figure out your hourly rate, but do keep in mind that this does not consider the fact that you may not be able to bill every single hour that you have available in the week. It's very unlikely that you're going to be fully booked every single week of the year. If you're a freelancer, you will have to dedicate a little bit of time to do admin work and to do your own marketing and to do, back end stuff that you cannot bill your time for. So anything that you charge to your clients will need to cover for your admin time as well. And also, if you use this method, it means that if you're not employed by a client for every single available hour that you have every single week, you're essentially going to be at a loss. However, this is a great first step to start to think about what you need on average every hour to cover your expenses. The second method that I'm about to share with you is a little bit more sophisticated, and I would recommend this if you're really taking your freelance gig seriously. And I'm actually about to share a template that I have created for a client of mine that has proven to be quite helpful for them to start to really think deeply about what kind of income targets they should set for themselves. So this is the template that I created, and I'm happy to make this available for you. Just click the link in the description below, and this will be available for you for free if you find it helpful. But I will build a practical example of how I would use this template to have an idea of how you should set your fees. Let's take a business coach, for example, right? So let's pretend that we are a business coach and that we're trying to understand how much income we need to earn and therefore how much we need to charge our fees for. So I will start, first of all, with expenses. So these are the main expenses that I would expect like an online business coach to incur across the year. And of course, this will change from business to business. Just, put whatever expenses are the most relevant to you. And I'm just going to plop in some numbers based on, my knowledge of the industry. Perfect. Again, these are kind of like very back of the envelope kind of workings. They're not super precise. This is just me plucking some figures from the air. So let's pretend that this person is going to spend about £1,500 on subscriptions for software and their website costs. They're going to buy about £1,000 worth of equipment for maybe filming and other stuff. And they want to invest about £2,000 in their upskilling and training and continual professional development. Their accounting fees for their year-end accounts is £800, and then they also have another £3,000 left to spend on office stuff such as space hire and whatnot. So let's pretend that these are the main expenses that an online business coach is expected to incur. Now down here I have created this box where in this yellow box over here we have the target net income. So that's the target after tax income that this person is aiming to have so that they can cover the expenses of their lifestyle, right? So that's £24,000, which follows the example that we set before. And what we want is this tab over here to be 0 or over 0, right? So the way that we do it is we start with figuring out what the total income is that this coach will need, right? So if I say, okay, so that's £32,000 of variance, what happens if I put like £40,000 in here? Yeah, it goes well over that variance. So let's say that the minimum amount, we can reduce it by a little bit. What if we put £37,000 in here? Yeah, we can even reduce it more. What's 30, 34, 30, 32? Yeah. So let's say that if they earn in that financial year £32,000 while spending this level of expenses, they will earn that £25,000 and a little bit more on top of that, right? So this is going to be relevant for UK taxes. So if you're not from the UK, you will have to redo these calculations. But essentially what this spreadsheet does is it allows you to set an income target that will cover all of your expenses and also will cover however much income tax you will need to pay in the year, which in this case, for surplus of this kind, this person would need to pay about £2,800 in taxes. And so they are left with this amount. And so this would be about £2,500 more than what they would need to meet their needs. Yeah, so I hope this was clear. Basically, we're reverse engineering the income target. We're looking at how much we aim to have net of taxes and net of expenses. And then we're figuring out how much we're going to spend as part of our business costs, how many taxes we're going to pay if we have this profit at the end of the year. And then from there, we're setting an income target. So in this case, I put £32,000 in there, and that's how much I would need to meet this. I can earn less than that. Let's say £30,000. Yeah, there we go. At minimum, this person would need to earn £30,000 and, stick with these expenditure levels to be able to meet their net income target of £24,000 every single month. Right? So we have a total yearly target to meet according to these parameters. And then what I also built alongside this is the second tab. So I've called this the rates estimator, because what the exercise that we're about to say takes into account that not every single day of the year is going to be billable. Not every single working day of the year is going to be billable if you are a freelancer. It's pretty much impossible if you're self-employed, if you're a freelancer, to literally be able to be paid for every single day of the year. So take a look at what I'm about to do. The first line over here, you have to put in how many available days in the year you have to work. So if you are a full-time freelancer and if you work 5 days a week, you would put in here 5 times 52. As if you're only freelancer for like 2 or 3 days per week, you would do 3 days times 52. So that is like the working days that you have across the year. However, the second line takes into account that you may want to take some holidays. So you may have to take some time off because working every single week of the year is unsustainable. So we're going to put with a minus sign. Let's say that you want to give yourself 28 days. So 28 days of holiday is the minimum statutory holiday leave that you have to take here in the UK. And so I'm going to put that because I'm assuming that I am a full-time freelancer here. So I'm going to deduct 28 days from the total. And then I'm also going to count for admin time. Again, you are not going to be able to work for your clients 100% of your days. You will have to set aside a few hours per week at least to do stuff that you're not going to be able to be paid for. So that includes marketing, creating your content for social media, doing the bookkeeping, doing the administration, doing your training. So these are all things that you will have to do that you can't bill a client for. So for the purpose of this exercise, let's pretend that I'm going to set aside about 50 days every year to just like run my business from the back end. So I'm going to deduct 50 from this calculation. So we have a total amount of billable days of 182. Now, another step here is to say that it's pretty much impossible for freelancers to be able to bill all of those days. This is because this would assume that every project would end when the other one starts. This would mean that every project would fall exactly precisely one after the other, and that, every single billable day would have a client in it, but that simply doesn't happen in day-to-day life. It's virtually impossible to be able to figure out a schedule where you are able to bill every single day. The average freelancer out there can count on about 65% of those days to have clients that pay for those days. So I have accounted for 65% over here. And so 65% of these billable days will give you a total of 118 days. What this figure means is that realistically, you're going to be able to charge your clients about 118 days of work, right? I hope that made sense. This is a little bit more of a sophisticated method to predict, the amount of days that you can actually bill for, because it accounts for all the idle time that you have throughout the week. So based on this calculation, then we have 118 days over the year that we're going to be able to raise sales invoices for. And now this cell over here takes the target income from the top sheet over here. So if this person aims to earn £30,000 from their coaching fees, then it shows us that on average, they should be earning at least £154 for every billable day. So this gives us an indication that if they charge less than that per day, they're going to be at a loss. Either they will have to reduce their business expenses, or they will have to reduce their own personal life expenses, or they will have to walk away from any client that will pay them less than £254 per day. So again, the next step from here is to ask yourself, is this a reasonable market rate? Are there clients out there that would be happy to pay me this rate? You will have to do a little bit of research depending on what your industry is and who your clients are, etc., etc. This might be very high for some clients, but this might be actually quite low for other clients. And it will also depend on stuff like your own experience and how much value you're going to be able to deliver and where you are in your career and how well known you are and all that sort of stuff. But this gives you like a practical figure that tells you if I earn less than that on average, I'm not going to be able to make ends meet. I'm not going to be able to sustain my business expenses that I have set and my business, expenditure targets that I have set for myself. And also, I'm not going to have enough left at the end of the year to support my lifestyle. And again, this is based on a monthly average net income of about £2,000 every month. There's many things that you can do from this starting point. Again, this is a starting point. If you're still trying to figure out how your fee works, what you will need to do from here is, first of all, across the year, you will need to track how many days have I invoiced for? What are my actual billable days? If they are more than 118, then you will have made more money. But if they're less than that, then what will you do to make up for the lost income? If you're not able to attract as many clients to cover 118 days of work, what other streams of income can you explore to make up for that income? Because remember, this is just based on coaching fees that you will charge, but there's many other ways that online businesses can earn money. Do you want to create a digital course or a digital resource that people can download? Or do you want to do some training with other people? Do you want to offer workshops to people? What else? What other offers can you put out there that can help you make up for the income that you're unable to earn, and also just scale the business? You always want to try to diversify the income streams that you have, and always try to not put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to earning your income. Because again, clients can be unreliable. Someone might fire you, or just simply the market might change and the needs might change, and you might have to take some time to reassess and realign yourself with your clients. So that's what I would suggest to this person. So this gives them an idea of how much income they will need to earn in the year as a freelancer for them to be able to support their lifestyle and their business expenses. Anything on top of that will be how they will grow. Anything on top of that will come from maybe higher daily rates if they can afford to charge their clients more than that basic £154 per day. And also, I would encourage them, again, to look for other ways that they can earn their income as a freelancer so that they can increase their earnings and be able to pay themselves more than the bare minimum. Again, if you think that this kind of template is going to be helpful for you, I'm going to put a link to it in the bottom. It's going to be for free. Don't worry about it. It's on me. And do take into consideration that tax calculator at the bottom is based on UK taxes. So you'll have to change that based on your country's taxes if you want to use my template. And there you have it. This is how I would advise my freelancer clients to set their fees and have an idea of what they actually need to earn so that they can cover their business expenses as well as, their own lifestyle. Again, I wouldn't recommend this to clients that have higher overheads or who have a small team of employees. I would budget for those smaller growing businesses a little bit differently. But this is a great start for freelancers and self-employed people in their first few years of being self-employed, where they're the only person working in their business. Let me know in the comments if this is what you expected. I would be interested to know if the ways that you set your own fees are drastically different from the ones that I just showed. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would love to have you on board. And it was such a pleasure to spend this time with you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.